Well, it's happened once again, ladies and gentlemen. Humanity once again has foregone the opportunity to shake off the shackles of stupidity and tradition, and daylight saving time is still a thing. We all had to boost our clocks ahead an hour, we all lost an hour of sleep, and a lot of terrible things ensue from that. So daylight saving is a stupid, terrible thing, and it needs to be abolished, along with pennies and other stuff that just is an easy fix. It has nothing but negative implications, and it needs to be stopped. Now, a lot of people, when they think of daylight savings, think of a couple of things. One, that it's called daylight savings. It's not. That's grammatically incorrect. It's daylight saving time. It's not the best term. It should be called daylight shifting time or daylight humans are stupid time. I mean, how do you explain to aliens that humanity has changed the time on their clocks to fool themselves into thinking they're an hour ahead in the future? How do you explain that to an alien? They would look at us like we're freaking crazier than they probably already think we are, with the whole Tyler and Tiaras and all that other bullshit that we have to own up to. But anyways, daylight saving time is stupid. People always tend to think that it has something to do with farmers. Well, it doesn't. It never has. Never will be. Farmers have always, since the inception of daylight saving time during World War I, have always hated daylight saving. They have hated it so much that they became synonymous with daylight saving time, so people just assumed, since they were synonymous with it, that they were all for it, that it gave them more sunlight to pick crops or something. Which is, of course, not true. What daylight saving time is, it forces them to get their stuff done earlier. It forces them to, deal with fucking cows earlier in the day who don't give a fuck about human time. It's all about, mooing and, literal bullshit that they have to deal with. So farmers have always hated it, and they always will hate it. So why do we have daylight saving time? It first started in World War I in Germany as a means to save energy. They didn't know why they thought this. It was just an assumption. There was actually no attempt to see if daylight saving time actually saved energy until 1966. And since the Germans did it to save, fuel costs so they can save the coal for the war effort, a whole lot of countries followed, including the United States, and we have yet to look back since. So many different things go into daylight saving time. It's ludicrous. Not all countries follow it, but around 70 of them do. Not all parts of those countries follow it. For instance, Arizona doesn't follow it, and up until 2007, Indiana didn't follow it. Get to them in a bit. And it really throws off everything out of whack when it comes to international travel. Airlines lose millions of dollars just because of that hour time change. Because we're pushed ahead of an hour, everything is darker when we wake up and have to go to work or school, which leads to more accidents, which leads to more stress, which leads to more workplace accidents, which actually increases an uptick in male suicide around this time, and also increases heart attack risks overall. So there's really no health benefits to this whole saving daylight nonsense. Now, when it comes to the origin of daylight saving time, a lot of people tend to think of farmers, which is wrong! And also, people like to quote that Benjamin Franklin had the idea.
Do you actually know who the first person to suggest daylight savings was?
Benjamin Franklin.
Which, of course, is also wrong! Benjamin Franklin never actually proposed daylight saving time. He wrote that as a satirical essay. It was a joke. He was like, if we change the time, we'll save money on candles. It was satire, and Riley from National Treasure should have known that bullshit when they're dealing with Silence Do-Good letters and all this other stuff. Know your history, dude. He didn't actually think that was a good idea. World War I came around, and that's when everyone started getting stupid. So it wasn't Benjamin Franklin to fault, because he was, a little bit smarter than that. Other people tend to think that daylight savings will increase sunlight hour and conserve energy. This, of course, is not true. No one actually tested this until 1966, and every report since then has had a less than 1% decrease in energy consumption or 1 or more % increase in energy consumption, which of course makes perfect sense. This isn't World War I anymore. We have electricity. Spoiler alert, it's a big thing that we're using 24/7. Air conditioning, that's a thing. Now that we're up earlier, air conditioning is going to be on more. So we are actually consuming more energy during daylight saving than when we're on standard time. That's another thing. How is it standard when only 1/3 of the year is actually that time? Daylight saving time is 8 out of the 12 months. You might not have known this, but back in 2007, they actually added a month onto it. So 8 out of the 12 months of the year is daylight saving time. Whose idea was that? I don't know, Kaiser Wilhelm or some dumbass in Germany. But the point is, we don't live in that time period anymore, and we're a little bit smarter than that. When Indiana in 2007 switched to daylight saving time, they actually lost $7 million. They thought they were going to conserve energy, but guess what? They conserved more energy because that's how humans work. There are nothing but drawbacks to daylight saving. We don't get more daylight during, activity hours. We don't go outside more often. We don't absorb more vitamin D from the sun. Businesses don't, reap in the benefits. TV networks, as some of you might know, are on hiatus for the next month because ratings actually go down as soon as daylight saving kicks in. That's just a thing that happens. Go figure. When everyone's clocks get jumped ahead, they kind of don't want to stay up and, watch the same shows. Everything gets thrown out of whack. Our circadian rhythms are kind of important since we have to sleep, 1/3 of the day recommended. And it's when it gets messed up, a lot of things get changed. So what business does actually want to keep daylight savings? It's the candy company, because they want kids to be out trick-or-treating on Halloween with more daylight, which actually doesn't help because some kids wait till it gets dark. And it's candy that's already been bought. So what is the point of all of that? Halloween has nothing to do with daylight saving time. You're not making more money, you're not making less money. We're not gaining sunlight or health benefits or conserving energy. All we're doing is wasting our own time, increasing health risk, increasing accidents, being on a fake arbitrary time. And why are we doing this? Because we've always done it this way. The most dangerous words in the English language. We've always done it this way. And we've been doing it since World War I. And why haven't we abolished it along with the penny? Because it's tradition. And until we can abolish humanity's stupidity and traditions, we will be stuck with all of this bullshit.